These are the Marshall Amberton 3 Sage speaker and the Minor 4 Cream earbuds. There are things that I love that really surprised me, but there are some things that could have done better. Now let's start with unboxing the Amberton 3 Sage first. So here's what's inside of the box. A USB-C to USB-C cable tucked in a separate box, the speaker itself, a quick guide and a safety manual. Next, let's unbox the Minor. That sounded wrong. Next, let's unbox the Marshall Minor 4 earbuds. Okay, that sounded better. Now the first thing you'll see are the earbuds. There's a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, which I do wish that it was USB-C to a USB-C cable instead. Then there's a quick guide and a safety manual. Alright, let's start with the design and the build quality. Starting with this Amberton 3. Right from the start, it reminded me of their amplifiers, which I loved during my music days. And speaking of which, there's also a black and brass finish. That indeed looks like a Marshall head amp. Now this is in the Sage color, which is also available in black and brass and cream too. Now this vegan leather finish, the rugged design, looks like something that you would definitely see on stage on a rock concert or even a metal concert. But here's the thing, most people worry about the texture not being able to last for a very long time. Now I do get it, but as someone who has owned a Marshall amp before, trust me, this will hold up. Now speaking of holding up, it is also IP67 rated too, so even if this submerges in 3 feet of water, it can survive up to 30 minutes. Next, in terms of the layout, there are 2 speaker grills in the front and also at the back. Now this is for the stereo sound projection, where at the side of the speakers there's also a USB-C port for charging. Now at the bottom there's an area to hook probably a carabiner or even a very huge lanyard too, where there's a nice rubber base underneath to make sure that the speaker stays in place if you're placing it on a surface like your table. Now on top there is the media controls, and this of course reminds me of how the knobs were on their amplifiers again. Now this is a joystick like media control, which is actually very fun to use. Tilting it right or left skips a track, then pushing it up or down is for volume control. Then the Bluetooth pairing button and the power button is flush on the body itself. Now to be honest, as much as I love this minimal look, I would love for this to be a tactile button feeling instead, just so you know, to give that signature vintage look. But probably Marshall was going for a very minimalistic look or just trying to strengthen our muscle memory. But one major thing that I really appreciated is how clear that this battery indicator were on top. Now this beats any other speakers that uses a single LED that keeps you guessing the exact level with probably a 3-level color indications of sort, because have you ever come to these situations where you take out your speaker and then you think that there's a lot of battery only for the light to turn red 5 minutes later? Well, this solves that problem, because it does have a clear indicator that shows levels up to 10 steps. So no more guessing and no more getting caught with a dead speaker at a party. So yes, that one feature alone makes a huge difference. Now moving on to the design and the build quality for this Marshall Minor 4. Now this for me was a little disappointing, because while they went with a textured finish like this leather-like design for the case, at first I thought that it would have the same lovely feeling as the Amberton 3, but nope, I was wrong. Now this one had a more plastic feel instead. Maybe this is to keep the weight down, but for the price I would definitely expect it to be a little better than this. But here's the surprise, the earbuds themselves was super comfortable to put in your ears. Now unlike most open fit earbuds, these are either too tight or keep falling out, but this actually stays in place. Now what's interesting is that this also does not leak much sound, meaning no one will actually hear your embarrassing playlist that you have on. So yes, even your 90s Backstreet Boys playlist that nobody knows about, they will still continue to not know about your little secret. So overall, the Amberton 3 gets a huge yes for the overall design and build quality, but this Minor 4, the build quality is 50-50 for me. So both speakers and the earbuds can be connected with Marshall's Bluetooth app. Connecting them to the app will give you EQ controls, firmware updates and battery management. The app offers 3 different types of EQ presets for the Amberton. One is the default presets offering Marshall's signature sound. The other preset boosts the bass and the treble, and the last one increases the overall mid-range for a better vocal sound. But for the Minor 4 though, you'll get more when it comes to the EQ settings. Now not only you get access to the 5 different presets, but you can also set your own custom EQ settings. Now the app also lets you to enable and disable the interaction sounds, which I love a lot, so more on that later. Then there's also the autoplay and the auto pause feature, which is triggered when you remove or put back the earbuds in your ears. Now it also lets you to choose the level of battery preservation for both the speakers and also for the earbuds, something that I found very interesting because it is something that I don't think that I've seen in any other apps from any other audio companies, so that was really nice to know on here. Okay, next let's talk about the features and the battery life. The Amberton 3 packs a dual driver setup with passive radiators where it gives a loud and almost room feeling sound. Now this is because even though the speakers are using two 10-watt drivers, they each output at 38 watts, which means that it can go really loud without worrying about any major sound distortions. And thanks to the true stereophonic sound, you'll get a 360-degree audio, making it great for indoor and also outdoor use. But the Minor 4, despite not having a very premium build, has solid internal drivers. So Marshall has tuned these earbuds to offer a balance of clean sound where you also get Bluetooth multi-point connection so you can seamlessly switch between your devices like your phone, tablet or even your laptop. Now both devices are Bluetooth LE audio ready, which means that you will get higher quality audio with overall better connectivity and of course together with improved battery efficiency. But how about the battery life? Well, absolutely solid. Now I've been using the Amberton 3 for a week now, around 1 to 2 hours a day, and guess what? I haven't even charged this ever since I unboxed this. Now Marshall claims about 32 hours plus, but for my testing so far, it's like they were underplaying how great the battery life was. Then the same could be also said for the Minor 4 because with 30 plus hours in total with playtime with the case, you'll be set for days without needing to recharge. So battery life on this too, really amazing. Now what's even cooler is the fact that the earbuds also comes with wireless charging, which is super convenient. But one thing that I like to mention is that how awesome the interaction sounds are on both the speakers and the earbuds as well. Now I just love the guitar interaction sound from the speaker, which sounds like this. And then when you turn it off, so yeah, I love it so much that I find myself just simply turning it on and off just to hear this sound. Now if you guys are enjoying this video as much as I enjoy listening to the interaction sound, a nice big thumbs up would be very much appreciated, and a subscription will be lovely too, because as we are really looking towards reaching 200,000 subscribers before May 2025, so thank you very much in advance. Okay, let's talk about the audio experience since this is an audio product review, right? Firstly, the Amberton 3 is loud, fun and bass heavy, which is perfect for music, Netflix and even on YouTube. The bass is full and powerful, but depending on what you are playing, it can be a bit more overpowering on the mids and the highs a little. Now that was totally fine by me, but some audiophiles might not love it, and that's why this is more for the mainstream audience who prefer a more casual listening. And I wouldn't say myself as being a mainstream listener, but I really enjoy how much color that they put on this. Just nicely balanced. Now as for the Minor 4, once again the build quality saving grace is over here too, because the sound performance is actually solid. It's got a good balance of the highs and mids, making vocals super clear and crisp. So when it comes to listening to rock music or even jazz, you can hear every guitar riff and a cymbal hit. And of course the bass is not overpowering. So yeah, if you're expecting a deep rumbling bass, this is not it, because it's more of a balance and a clean sound, which is great for rock, jazz or even for podcasts as well. So overall both sounds good, but the Minor 4's tuning might be not satisfying for those bass hits. Now I also tried this for gaming, because you know how Bluetooth LE is supposed to be great for low latency, and not surprisingly, I didn't notice any significant audio lags. Then the touch controls were also quite responsive on the earbuds, but you'll need to get used to where the touch sensors are. And here's our audio test using our binaural microphones for both of these devices, so put on your best earphones. So both the speaker and the earbuds include a microphone that you can use for calls. The microphone on the Amberton is surprisingly very good, where it beats your typical speaker phones, and it is also very good for conference calls. The microphone on the Minor was also good too, Now the calls were quite clear on this, but they didn't have any sort of a noise isolation because the ambient noises were quickly picked up and heard on the other end of the call. But here's a microphone recording test on each of the devices for you to hear them. So once again, put on your best earphones.
Hello, this is the mic test for the Marshall Minor 4. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you great. This is the mic test for the Marshall Emberton 3. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Now, if you want a written version of everything mentioned in this video, well, we do have one at our website at www.adamlovo.tv. Links to the website will be down below, and we also have some daily tech news over there too, so do check it out. So, should you buy them? Well, if you want a powerful, great sounding portable speaker with great battery life, then the Marshall Emberton 3 at 999 ringgit is a very solid choice. But for the Marshall Minor 4 though, this one is a little tricky because sound quality and comfort, great. Build quality is not the best because for 699 ringgit, I was indeed expecting better materials, but then again, wouldn't these two look very nice together as a pair? Now, one very important thing to note is the fact that there are many fake Marshall products out there. So make sure you look for this Ash hologram sticker, which is on the box, and also purchase it from official retailers like Harvey Norman and Thunder Match here in Malaysia, where it is also available at the Marshall official store on Shopee and Lazada as well.